Hi, everyone, and welcome inside Pinnacle Bank Arena to the aftermath of Nebraska versus Iowa. Now, Robin, Nebraska came into this game and did exactly what they needed to do and, came out with a 76-70 win over Iowa. How'd they do it?
Well, like you said, they followed their game plan to an absolute T. First and foremost, it started with containing Luka Garza, Iowa's potential All-American center. That is as big of a mismatch as Nebraska's going to see just from an individual player perspective all season long. And it's funny to say that a guy that had 16 points, 18 rebounds was kept in check, but he was. He didn't score his first basket to like the 7:41 mark in the first half, and that's because every time he got the ball in the paint, 3 or 4 defenders were just swarming him and swatting at him, and it helped that Nebraska was only called for 11 fouls? No. 21, no, wait, hold on. 14, sorry, 14 fouls. I only shot 5 free throws, that's what I was trying to say. And so Nebraska was able to play an aggressive style of defense that flustered Iowa, particularly Luka Garza, early. So that was where it started. But then when you pair that with Iowa going 4 of 33 from three-point range, including I think starting 1 of 17, that is the absolute ideal scenario where you keep, Garza from completely dominating you, and then all those other shooters they have are off their mark. That was a perfect recipe for Iowa or Nebraska to pull off this upset, and it all kind of fell into place. And then, the third element to it was Nebraska actually made shots. And they were shooting 33% over their past 2 games coming in, and now they come out shoot almost 50%, 49 to be exact, made 10 three-pointers, had 5 guys in double figures. Like I said, it was a perfect storm tonight, and it all came together. The crowd got into it, even on a game where the students aren't back yet from spring break or winter break. I'm having a hard time today.
Yeah, words are hard.
Coming back from winter break. The energy in here was great, and a lot of it was Nebraska jumped out to a 7-0 lead from the start, got the crowd into it. They made shots. They never let their foot off the gas. And like I said, the stars all aligned for Nebraska to pull this off, and they were able to get it done.
And, there's a lot to be happy about after that loss to Rutgers on Friday. It was difficult for the whole team, but, what did just this win do? Yeah,
it's a huge confidence boost, especially coming off that Rutgers game. And now you look at kind of the overall sample size that we have of Nebraska. This Nebraska team against a Big Ten competition, they're 2-2 in league play, so that in itself puts them right in the middle of the pack. They're only 7-8 over and all, but 2-2 right now, that's right in the thick of it. And then you look at those 4 games, 2 of them were impressive wins. They whipped Purdue, and they just took Iowa, and then they should have or could have beaten Indiana on the road back in December. And so really, of those 4 games, only one was kind of the big physical beatdown that a lot of people feared going into this season. So that is some tangible evidence that this team actually has, going into the heart of January, that we can compete in this league. It's big and physical and all that stuff, but we can bring some stuff to counter that, especially when they play like they did defensively. You look at their 3 wins, that was the common denominator. Not only do they shoot the ball well, but defense. When they play with that effort, intensity, and just all around being dialed in on that end of the floor, they're going to have a chance. And so, this is kind of another example of, Fred Hoiberg trying to drill into these guys that, this is on you. When you play with the right mentality, you're going to be in a position to win more than people think. But when you show up like you did against Rutgers, that's the result you're going to get. So consistency's been the name of the game all season, and it's especially true with the rest of the league play coming up.
And speaking of consistency, Nebraska has been up and down all season. They'll go from a great win to a terrible loss. It's just up and down. But, how do they just keep pushing through and prevent that from happening?
Well, what's interesting is Fred Hoiberg noted that Gervais Green, who started the first 9 games of the season, was held out of the lineup tonight because of a coach's decision. And that decision was made because Nebraska plays its best basketball when that lineup's pared down. And you hate to just single one guy out, but the stats are there. Nebraska has struggled when Gervais been on the floor. It's almost like there's too many mouths to feed, and the offense doesn't flow the way it needs to when he's out there. And then, he's missed 3 games: Indiana, Purdue, Iowa. It's all kind of making the case for itself that there's something there, and I don't know how they keep that up going forward, because clearly you're risking kind of having some turbulence in their locker room if you're just sitting a guy that came here to be a starter and play a lot of minutes. So that's going to be an interesting thing to watch going forward, but they found something. Whatever they've done in those 3 games, that's what works. That's when this team is at its best. And, I don't know if that's just as simple as taking one player out of the equation, But now they have, like I said, a good sample size of this is the formula, and this is how you're going to win in the Big Ten with this particular team. So, I think the Gervais Green thing is the one key thing to watch. But even regardless of what his role is going to be, Nebraska knows what it has to do, and their ability to bring all those intangibles, whether it be effort and focus and all that stuff like we've talked about, that's going to be the key about how consistent they can be going forward.
And we saw Charlie Easley kind of step up tonight. Hoiberg mentioned that not all of his shots were falling, but he did make a big impact on the game. But Nebraska travels to Chicago on Saturday to face Northwestern. Tip-off is set for 3 p.m. Central. But for Robin Washut, I'm Allie Snow, reporting for HuskerOnline.